Hello everyone, my name is Cassandra. I'd like to take a moment to thank you for watching this presentation and to apologize for not being in class today. I'd also like to note before I actually start talking that I have animals in the room that I'm recording in, so if you hear it, I apologize. I'll try my best to edit it out, but I can't promise anything. Overall, I hope you enjoy my presentation. I wish I could be there to do it in person, but sadly I cannot. Anyway, let's get started. Once again, thank you for listening. The story I'm going to tell you about today is called Shadow. After a tragic vehicle accident happens, a shy and longing friend must look after their secret crush while hiding their love for them before their fiancé uncovers their secrets. Now moving on to the structure of my 7-minute screenplay, I'll start off at the beginning. It opens with our main protagonist staring at the sky, and our main protagonist is a male character. He is a dragon, but he mostly remains in his human form, which he is currently in. We're also introduced in the distance from the main protagonist's eye view, the main female lead, who's half human, half fairy, and we're also introduced with her pet dragon that is always with her, and her fiance, who is a vampire that is over 150 years old, which we find out later on. Moving on to the inciting incident, we're introduced to the main protagonist's feelings just before this because him and the female lead are discussing stuff over a simple meal, and when she leaves to head back to her company because she's the CEO, she is run off the road by a vehicle and gets into a major accident. This causes the main protagonist to act as her guardian temporarily while she recovers, while her fiance runs off and is never around. On to the midpoint in the story. To avoid their feelings getting found out, they decide to keep it to themselves, and using maneuvers such as avoiding the main lead and staying away when the fiance is around. The male lead also writes down their feelings in a journal to keep their feelings from coming out verbally, but also being able to let them out in some way. The protagonist stays away from the fiance completely, doesn't go near them, stays away from the female lead, especially when he's around, and only helps her or comes around her while she's asleep. The protagonist also does most of her work for her in secret to keep the company afloat. Now on to our climax. The fiance comes back from whatever they were doing, finds an unfamiliar book on the bedside table of his fiance's bed. He decides to read this book and figures out that it's the main protagonist's diary and finds out all the secrets that he's been hiding. He confronts the protagonist, threatens him with his life, and then leaves the location once again. The protagonist then makes the sad decision to pack their things and leave and never return. On to the conclusion. Upon leaving, they cut direct contact with their friend and their love interest. While being far away, they still admire them and watch over them from afar, and they never leave their side. Their emotions slowly eat away at them, driving them into solidarity and madness. Is my protagonist an active protagonist? He's a man, but he's also a dragon. The main protagonist is a man of integrity, loyalty to the female lead in this story. He constantly makes choices and things happen around him, but he always makes the choices that benefit her over himself or anyone else in their circle. He protects her from his fiance's ill-mannered personality and keeps her from losing interest in him completely and helping their relationship stay afloat even though he wants her for himself. He's a mythical creature, that of a dragon, but he hides it because she herself has a fear of dragons due to a tragic past, although she has a pet dragon. He begins as a selfless man, not a selfish bone in his body, and cares more for others than himself. That is always going to be portrayed, and that is his main aspect of the main protagonist. This fact in and of itself is a continuous point throughout the story and never changes. His selflessness stays the same. He grows into someone who can value his life more than others, and he chooses to keep himself at a safe distance to avoid hurting her, but at the same time satisfies his needs by staying close enough that he can protect her without being near her. Due to this, he slowly goes mad and can't escape the feelings that he has for her. He wants his love to be returned, but he needs her in his life, and he always needs to protect her. It's something that he can't live without. And due to this, he slowly slips into a never-ending madness and loophole within his own mind. For this story, I want to use my own skills of animated art. Sadly, it won't be physically animated, but it will be animated, drawn on paper, and put into a video with music, sound effects, noises. That is what I hope to achieve. I want it to be more of a realistic type story using fantasy characters. Using this method, I hope that I can keep it creative and enjoyable for the audience and keep them intrigued. My influence for this idea is unrequited love is very painful. It's something that hurts many people on a day-to-day basis. And I have experienced this more in the friendship zone type thing, just with friends. And I want to express the emotions that people feel in these situations through this story. I like fantasy and mythical characters. I don't play with it very much, and that's why I'm choosing that as my type of characters. And I think it'll also make a very memorable piece that people can enjoy and watch. Lastly, I'd like to thank you guys all for listening. I hope you enjoyed regardless of not being able to see my face. Once again, I apologize for that. I hope you guys enjoyed it overall. I apologize for any animal noises that you might have heard, and I hope to see you guys in class very soon, and I hope this idea sounds intriguing. Bye!